Pelican Brewing Company presents today's Daily Ticker. Pelican invites you to take a beach break at one of their 4 coastal locations, Cannon Beach, Tillamook, Pacific City, and Lincoln City. Pelican Brewing Company born at the beach. The dirty pole rolls on, not dead despite the haters. Top 5 kicks off today with Ohio State going into the year of a national championship game, but a lot of new faces. Steve Helwagen joining us now, our good friend, been covering the Buckeyes for a long time. Bucknuts.com, at Steve Helwagen on Twitter. Steve, good morning to you. Has the national championship sunk in yet? Like the last year had to be so weird. You lose to Michigan, you win the national championship. How does it feel a couple of months later now that we're on the brink of kicking off another year?
Yeah, it was definitely a weird year. I mean, you think about losing to Michigan, and there was probably a third of the fan base after losing to Michigan for the 4th straight year that wanted Ryan Day out of there. Well, he rallied the troops, and they go on and they beat 4 top 10 teams in a row. Just an unheard of run, win the first ever 12-team playoff. And now, they're throwing a parade for the guy, and, he's the greatest thing since Woody Hayes. So he's back, obviously, with the Buckeyes this year. A lot of new faces, as you said. They sent 14 guys to the NFL draft. So they've got a new quarterback and a lot of guys in key spots, but they have more talent, at least in terms of the recruiting rankings, than just about anybody else out there. So we'll see if this young and new team can put it together.
Steve, we had a guest from Cleveland on to talk Cleveland Brown football with the whole Shador stuff. And at the very end, we just kind of threw an Ohio State thing at him. And he had basically at that point said, not hearing amazing things about Julian Sand. He hadn't won the job at that point, and so there was real like, hey, could it be the other kid? They name Sand the quarterback. I'm curious, as somebody covering the program, how are we to read the quarterback competition that was happening in Columbus between the two quarterbacks, them waiting as long as they did before naming Julian Sand the starting quarterback? Was his camp underwhelming? What's the read on Julian Sand's camp?
No, I think he did pretty well in the preseason, according to people who were able to attend practice. We only got to see a few of the early preseason practices, and then they lock everything down. But basically, I mean, this guy was a 5-star. He went to Alabama out of the state of California, and when Nick Saban retired in January of 2024, Saban immediately went into the portal, immediately came to Ohio State, and has been through 2 springs at Ohio State in a full football season. He was the number 3 quarterback last year. Didn't get to play a whole lot, so this will be his first start, obviously, against Texas, which, I mean, how does it get any tougher than to face the number 1 team in the country in your first start? But I think by all rights, he's done pretty well in the preseason. Ryan Day said he knew after about a week and a half of preseason camp it was going to be Sand. And he then named him the starter over Lincoln Keenholz, who's also a pretty good player. Not quite as heralded a high school prospect coming out of South Dakota the year before in 2023, but he's now in his 3rd year with the program, and they really like what he brings as well. So we'll see if there's a package for him, maybe with the running game or in the red zone. Potentially, maybe you'd see Keenholz down there because he's supposed to be a really good runner as well.
Yeah, we're talking with our good friend Steve Helwagen, covering Ohio State for a long time. Bucknuts.com, at Steve Helwagen on Twitter. Go give him a follow there, I guess, on the Pelican Brewing Company Daily Ticker. You mentioned a lot of the new faces. One of them who is returning is Jeremiah Smith, who is probably the best player in all college football. We know how dominant he is. We know how good he is. Outside of him, how do they feel about the pieces around, saying, a quarterback? Offensive line loses some guys. Running back positions largely new. Where are they feeling at the rest of the offense to help this young quarterback along?
Yeah, I think that the thought is if the other 10 guys on offense can do their job and make life easy on the quarterback, then the offense will succeed. Until the quarterback gets his feet under him a few games and has that opportunity to become comfortable. I would think on Saturday against Texas, they're not going to go out and throw the ball 45 times. I would think try and get him some easy completions early in that game to get him into a bit of a groove and then go from there. You brought up Jeremiah Smith. I mean, he was a 5-star. Sand was a 5-star, and so was Carnell Tate, the other wide receiver. He was a 5-star. So you got 3 5-star guys right there, plus James Peoples was pretty big-time running back recruit out of Texas. He was the 3rd running back last year behind the pair of 1,000-yard rushers they had, Quinshawn Judkins and Travion Henderson. So we'll see what Peoples can do to kind of follow up their success. The offensive line, 4 of the guys come back on the offensive line at least from the playoff. They had some injuries and lost some guys, and some younger guys got to play, and those guys came together and helped lead Ohio State to the national championship. And now they're back as veterans. So the hope is the line has gone from a weakness to a strength overnight with the experience that those guys had. And so, yeah, if the other 10 guys can hold up their end, and I didn't even mention they brought in Max Clare, who caught 50 passes at tight end last year for Purdue. And he goes from a team that was 1-11 to a team that was 14-2. So what a breath of fresh air for him to be let out of college football purgatory there in West Lafayette.
It's going to be a great 9 a.m. start time for us out here on the West. I know everybody's pretty amped about everything going on. I just
later game is what we want, not early. Come on.
Hey, I mean, come on. It's good for me. I got breakfast and football, Steve. What are you doing?
When is that fan base going to file a lawsuit against the big noon kickoff? Because it feels like it's coming.
Yeah, I just wish that there was a way that, they're going to play Penn State. It's the same predicament later in the season because Fox gets the first 3 picks of the Big Ten weekends, and obviously they're going to go Ohio State, Michigan, Ohio State, Texas, and Ohio State, Penn State. I mean, Ohio State's hosting number 1 Texas and number 2 Penn State from the preseason poll. I can't remember that's ever happened. They've never opened with a number 1 team before. Haven't hosted a number 1 team in 40 years. So, yeah, it's a lot of firsts and whatever. And here's the really sad part about this is next year Ohio State goes down to Texas week 2, and that game will be at 7:30 on ABC. You can put that in ink and mark it down right now because of the SEC contract. ABC and ESPN control those rights. So here's Ohio State as a 2-year contract and has to host Texas for a day game with little or no excitement, not as much excitement as there would be for a night game, and the game down there is almost certainly going to be a night game. So, yeah, it's real off for the fans, and it's very fortunate.
Steve, we've been bucknutting with you for years. We have been old friends. You've been a great guest for us for anything Ohio State related. I think in the era of you being on our program, I don't know if one time during any question have you let out a groan the way you just did when I mentioned the kick time for that football game.
It's a man with principles. He cares about his kick times. That's why I love him.
That is a man that wants the lights to be on during that football game and not early morning.
I feel bad for the fans because when they hosted Tennessee team in December, it was electric. Even though it was like 28 degrees, it was still just a great atmosphere for college football. People had their parties all day and were ready for the game. And, now here in Columbus, it's a 12 o'clock start. My wife and I, we would throw a tailgate party for a game like this, but sooner get down there and get parked. You got to tear everything down and go to the stupid game. It's like you don't even get to have a beer or two. I don't drink before the games I'm covering, but the people coming to the tailgates don't hardly get started, and it's time to go in and watch the band. So. Yeah, it's too bad, and you wish that Fox would grant everybody at least one good night game a year. That would be great.
Amen
I
to
know
that.
they have playoffs in October with baseball and World Series, but in September there's no reason why they can't come to some type of agreement with ABC or something, to trade things back and forth or whatever. Like, I'll take this time slot, you take that one type thing.
Right. You're preaching to my choir, Steve. I'm right there with you. I hate these big games at 9 a.m., and they're horrible for the fans that have to go. Last one I got for you. We're making a lot of the replacements they're making on the roster in terms of guys that they lost. You mentioned it, just everybody behind them littered with 5 stars, and a lot of those guys that played big roles. What has been the opinion of Jim Knowles leaving? How big of a surprise was that? And where do we chalk up the effect of losing both an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator?
Yeah, Chip Kelly also left to go to, the Las Vegas Raiders, I believe, to work with them. And so, you lose both coordinators. Matt Patricia comes in. He'd just been an analyst for the Eagles since he got fired from the Detroit Lions as the head coach. Obviously won several Super Bowls with Bill Belichick in New England, and now he's coaching college football. First time in 20 years. Brian Hartline's back as the offensive coordinator. He had done it the year before, but Kelly came in, and he learned a lot from Kelly, and now Hartline's going to be calling the plays. So, yeah, I think both those areas deserve a huge attention going into this game and going into the season. How easily is everything going to flow? Last year it flowed, after the Oregon game, Knowles got the defense back to ship shape, and they dominated the rest of the way. For Knowles to leave basically the day they were celebrating the national championship was crazy. I mean, they're at the stadium having this celebration, and the news is breaking. He's not there, and he's going to Penn State. So that was kind of crazy, but I think he felt he was underappreciated by Ryan Day, and he reached out to James Franklin, and, Franklin's like, heck yeah, let's do it. So, yeah, in October, or actually November 1st, it'll be Knowles will be coming back to Ohio State. He'll be sequestered up in the box, so he won't be around the fans, but it'll be interesting, no doubt about it.
Yeah, you win a national championship and then you immediately bolted. Always is a conflicting opinion, right? Thank you for what you've done, but man, that was a quick exit.
He wasn't even at the parade.
He didn't even show up to the
Left
parade.
the parade.
See you later. I'm going home, man.
I hope he gets his ring. Maybe they'll have a ceremony to give it to him on November the 1st.
Yeah, Steve Helwagen, great stuff. You know that it's college football season when Steve Helwagen joins the show.
He just wants a shotgun a beer before doing
Just
the
let
game,
the guy have a couple of cold ones before a football game, man. It's
Damn
not
it.
too much to ask. Go check him out, Steve Helwagen on Twitter. Thanks, Steve. Always appreciate the time, and happy college. Enjoy this Saturday, although it is early, and I'm sure we'll catch up again soon.
Yep, take care, guys.
There you go, Steve Helwagen of Bucknuts.com.
I love that he's like, yeah, we can't even set up our tailgate. I don't drink before the game.
I mean, I would not drink before the game, but if I did drink before the game, I'd want to have a little more time to have a couple of beers.
Think Dirt's doing that pregame with a coffee mug and just black coffee?
Oh, dude, whenever I stay for a game, I'm having a beer when the postgame show's
have
over.
to, man.
100% of the time.
One will
Before
be
I go walk
fine.
down on the field, I go slam an IPA, and then I'm like, all right, let's go watch some football,
Now,
damn it.
what?
And I'm not covering anything. My work's done for the day. It's not like I'm reporting or tweeting out things. I
should be.
I
It's
do
your
my
job.
pregame show, and if I stay for the game, I'm done. I'm going to go watch some football.
Now, what beer do you pound there?
Pelican Brewing. Ice cold Pelicano.
Dude, Rockaway, by the way?
If they're coming to Rockaway?
I go to
Are
Rockaway.
they taking over the whole coast? When are they going abandoned?
Rockaway was once known as the Gresham of the coast.
Yes, it was. Not any longer.
They're expanding.
They are. Business is a booming. If
Jeff
you
Russ
will.
getting a house. He's getting rid of a house in Rockaway.
When are they going to come inland a little
Nah,
bit?
you got to stay true to your MO.
Can we bring the
No.
beach closer?
What
You
is
live
your
by the
identity?
beach. Just drive over
You're
there.
already there. You're like 10 minutes away.
You could run to the beach from
You
where
live
you
in
live.
Hillsboro, man. Great stuff from Steve Helwagen, the Daily Ticker. As always, brought to you by our wonderful friends at Pelican Brewing Company. Did you know that you could take a beach break at one of their 4 coastal locations, Cannon Beach, Tillamook, Pacific City, and Lincoln City, soon to be Rockaway? Pelican Brewing Company, born at the beach